Liverpool is giving me way too much hope this season, with the club having a great chance of winning the Premier League, the Champions League, and maybe even a couple other trophies along the way. This is something I didn't really expect, especially with our legendary manager, Jurgen Klopp, leaving at the end of last season, and the new boss, Arne Slot, taking over. But even with the minimal signings in the transfer window, Slot has Liverpool cooking in this 24-25 campaign, and we're easily looking like the best club in Europe at the moment. So how is Liverpool seriously competing for every trophy this season, despite the odds being stacked against us? Well, let's take a look at how Liverpool are doing so far in this 24-25 season. Now, I think to start this mid-season review off, we have to look back at this past summer. As we all know, our beloved Jurgen Klopp left us. No, he didn't die or anything. He just left the club, with him stating that he wanted to rebuild the team for another manager to take over, not for him to go again and try to win more trophies with the club, since he's hella tired basically. Which is fair enough. Imagine going up against a club that is backed by an entire oil-rich Middle Eastern country that also has 115 charges and losing to them in a title race twice by 1 point. Shit, I'd be tired too. But regardless, this upcoming season for Liverpool was going to be the start of a new era, and it's because Dutch manager Arne Slot joined the club after leaving Feyenoord, in which he left that club on a good note, winning them the Eredivisie in the 22-23 season and the Dutch Cup the season after. But Arne Slot coming isn't the only change that happened with Liverpool's hierarchy this summer, because there were a couple more important ones. Not only did the entire coaching staff change, which was expected, but also we got a new sporting director in Richard Hughes, and Michael Edwards returned to the Reds, but this time as a director of football, which means he basically just oversees anything FSG does with football. But yeah, as you can see, a lot of changes happened to Liverpool staff-wise. But what about the squad? The players? Did we have any major changes coming in or out in the transfer market? Well, the short answer is no, not really. Regarding departures though, we had quite a few. Joel Matip retired from football after the season ended, with him tearing his ACL early on in the season, and I guess that's where he called it a day. Thiago Alcantara, the Spanish magician, also retired after struggling with injuries this past season. I mean, literally only played one game in the 23-24 campaign, and that was a few minutes against Arsenal, so I guess this does make sense. Then we sent Stefan Bajcetic on loan to RB Salzburg, sold Bobby Clark to Salzburg as well for around 12 million euros, Adrian to Real Betis on a free transfer. Streets will never forget that disaster classic as Atletico Madrid. Ben Doak on loan to Middlesbrough, Calvin Ramsey on loan to Wigan, Fabio Carvalho to Brentford for 23.4 million euros, lost a decent depth piece there, I can't lie, and then Sepp van den Berg to Brentford as well for 23.6 million euros. So as you can see, we lost a few good depth pieces in the squad. Surely we would have replaced them this past summer, right? Wrong. We actually only signed 2 players this past summer. One is Georgi Mamardashvili for 30 million euros from Valencia, but he's actually loaned back to the Spanish club for the year, meaning he's not even playing for us right now, and then signed an injury-prone Federico Chiesa very late into the summer transfer window for 12 million euros. And respectfully, he's done a whole lot of nothing since he's come to. But yeah, that's literally all Richard Hughes did, bro. Mr. Hughes, what are you doing, yo? You also still haven't figured out the contract situations for our 3 biggest players too, bro. What the hell? Thing is though, to give Richard Hughes some credit, he did try to get us a big signing this past summer window, and that was Martin Zubamendi, who had a great season with Real Sociedad and had a great Euros winning campaign with Spain, where he replaced the Ballon d'Or winner, Rodri, in the final, and Spain didn't look any different whatsoever. And initially, it seemed like Zubamendi was gonna make the right decision and join Liverpool, with this transfer saga happening days on end. But right when it seemed like we got him, we didn't, and Zubamendi decided that he wanted to stay at Real Sociedad, and moving now would make him feel uncomfortable. You gotta be kidding me, bro. Yeah, that's how our summer went. New manager, new hierarchy, and barely any new players in the squad. Yeah, it wasn't looking very good for us, huh?
It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good.
But actually, I started feeling pretty positive about this team after preseason, because we were cooking. I forgot the GOAT Jurgen Klopp left us with an amazing squad still, despite us bringing little to no incoming players.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Starting off in preseason, Liverpool went to the United States and initially played Real Betis. And to be honest, it was quite a boring game with not many 18 players being there, but we still won 1-0 thanks to a great finish by Soboslai. Following that, we had to play Arsenal, a sure-to-be rival and our distant title hopes at the time. And guess what? We beat them, thanks to 2 goals from Mo Salah in the 13th minute, and then Fabio Carvalho, a player who left us later, in the 34th minute. And although Havertz brought one back, it wasn't enough, and we won 2-1. We then went on to smoke Manchester United 3-0, which is also a scoreline that we'll become more familiar with later. We'll get to it. And then back at Anfield, we beat Sevilla in a friendly 4-1 before drawing to Las Palmas 0-0. So in preseason, we didn't lose a single game. That's pretty promising stuff, especially when you're heading into a new season with a new manager, staff, etc. But now it's finally time we talk about the actual 2024-25 campaign. And we had our season starting off against the newly promoted side Ipswich Town away from home. I love how the other Big 6 Premier League sides got to play at home for their first game, while Liverpool got hit with the usual unfair scheduling and had to play away for the first game. Nasty work. Anyways, the first half in this game for Liverpool wasn't going so well. and we were conceding a decent amount of chances to Ipswich and their threatening new forward Liam Delap. But Arne Slot made a very good change at halftime, taking out Kwanzaa from the starting lineup and replacing him with Konate. And after this change, we started cooking. After getting multiple chances in the second half, Diogo Jota would finally convert one in the 60th minute thanks to a simple great assist from Salah. Then 5 minutes later, Salah would get his own goal to stamp a 2-0 win and get another opening day goal, breaking the record for being the most to do so as well. Moving on from that, we had Liverpool versus Brentford next. And not gonna lie, this game was in the bag from the jump. I mean, early on in the 13th minute, Liverpool pounced on the counterattack from our own box, and Luis Diaz ended up scoring it to put the Reds up 1-0. Then, after having multiple chances in the second half, where we would have buried a lot of those chances, but Brentford's keeper, Flecken, turned into prime Iker Casillas, Salah bagged another goal this season in the 70th minute to give us the 2-0 win. But now it's finally time for the first big Premier League clash of the season in my opinion. Manchester United versus Liverpool. Now if y'all recall, we faced United in preseason where we won 3-0. Well, that scoreline will be very familiar to United fans because, well, we won with that same exact scoreline this time around. Early on in the match, it seemed like Trent gave us the lead and even kissed the camera like Stevie G did back in the day. But the goal was ruled out because Salah was involved in the play and he was offsides. No worries though, because in the 35th minute, Salah would drop in a peach of a ball to Luis Diaz, who headed in the ball to give Liverpool the lead. Then 7 minutes later, Luis Diaz wins the ball back in the middle of the pitch and then gets on the end of a Salah assist and scores again to put the Reds up 2-0. But we're still not finished because once again in the 56th minute, Mo Salah finishes the game off and scores to make it a 3-0 win for Liverpool. This guy Mo Salah had 1 goal and 2 assists in this game, and he extended his record against Man United to 12 goals and 6 assists against the club. He truly owns that Manchester club, huh? But anyways, after this win, I was starting to feel good about the season. Our players were performing amazingly, we were winning every single game so far without conceding, and things were just overall looking good. So even though we were playing Nottingham Forest at home in the next match, our usual kryptonite, they somehow get the better of us each time, I was still feeling pretty confident. But oh boy was I so wrong, because even though we dominated this match entirely, with us having 14 shots, 5 on target, 70% possession, and triple the amount of passes, we somehow lost at Anfield 1-0 thanks to an incredibly shocking goal and wonderful finish by Callum Hudson-Odoi to give Liverpool their first defeat of the season. Bro, we lost to Nottingham at home? Are you serious?
Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
At the time, I was actually in shocking disbelief that this even happened to us. My heart was aching. But to be fair, Nottingham was actually overperforming this season. They're in the top 4 race. But anyways, after this game, Arne Slot was in disbelief too. I mean, this man literally brings up this loss to Nottingham every time he gets a chance to. I mean, I can't really blame him either. Small spoiler alert, but in the year 2024, Arne Slot has only had 1 loss with Feyenoord and Liverpool, and it was this Nottingham loss. So I understand his frustration. But enough of this negativity. Let's keep moving on to the positive stuff. And this time, it's us finally being back in the Champions League, playing in the new format. And our first game was against AC Milan at the San Siro. A tough place to play, but a great opportunity to bounce back, which we did. Although Christian Pulisic scored against us early to make us go down 1-0, I don't know why my own American boy loves scoring against my club, but whatever. We came back and won 3-1, thanks to goals from Konate, Van Dijk later on, both center backs scored in this game, and then Szoboszlai got his first of the season in the second half. Back to the Prem, we would dominate Bournemouth in this very entertaining game, having 13 shots on target with a total of 19 shots. That's ridiculous, but regardless, we won 3-0 thanks to 2 goals from Luis Diaz, who was absolutely on fire in September, I can't lie, and then Darwizi gets his first of the season in the 37th minute to help us win this match 3-0. But now let's move on to the Carabao Cup, where I'm not gonna lie, let's just get all the games of the Carabao Cup so far out of the way. So our first match was in the 3rd round against West Ham at home at Anfield, and we smoked the living hell out of these guys, clapping them 5-1, with Diogo Jota scoring 2 goals, Salah scoring 1, and Cody Gakpo scoring 2 goals in the last 3 minutes of the game to get us our 4th and 5th goal, while Kwanzaa's own goal gave West Ham a surprising lead in the game. Then the round 16 clash in late October in the Carabao Cup was against Brighton away from home, and this game was always going to be challenging, especially with Brighton always being a threat this season. And Brighton were better than us in this match in some aspects. Although we had more possession and more passes, we had the same amount of shots on target. Brighton had 8 more shots total, and although they passed 100 times less, they had the same pass accuracy as us. Regardless though, Liverpool did what they do best this season, and that's to win these challenging games. And a huge reason for that is thanks to Mr. Carabao Cup himself, Cody Gakpo, who's made this competition his own basically. Early on in the second half, Cody Gakpo takes a shot in what felt like an impossible angle, but somehow slammed in an absolute rocket to give us a 1-0 lead. Then after great saves throughout the match from the 23-year-old keeper, Vítor Slavjaros, Gakpo would bag another goal in the 63rd minute after he slammed one in at the near post. Then despite Brighton getting one back in the 81st minute thanks to Simon Adingra, Luis Diaz would take on the entire team by himself 4 minutes later and score to help us regain that 2-goal advantage. And although Lamptey scored another goal in the 90th minute, Liverpool managed to win this difficult game 3-2 in their hopes of retaining the Carabao Cup. Then in the quarterfinals, we had to play a poor Southampton side, and no cap, even though Southampton scored in this game, it always felt like we were going to win this one, which we we did. And we won the match 2-1 thanks to goals from Nunez and Elliott. And now we're in the Carabao Cup semifinals where we'll face Tottenham real soon. But now with the Carabao Cup out of the way, let's quickly glance over at the FA Cup, where although it hasn't started, we did get a good draw for once and have to play Accrington Stanley in the third round. We'll take those. But now with the domestic cup competitions out of the way, let's go back to the Premier League and the Champions League, where we were set to play Wolverhampton Wanderers away from home next, winning that match 2-1 even though our performance wasn't the best. And then over to the Champions League at Anfield, we beat Bologna convincingly 2-0, and Mo Salah scored an absolute worldie in this game too. Salah's season so far has been amazing, but we'll talk about that a little bit more specifically in a bit. Back to the Prem, we had another okay performance away to Crystal Palace where we won 1-0 thanks to an early goal from Diego Jota, but we also received a bad injury to Alisson Becker, who was out for a couple of months, which is why Kelleher has taken a huge role in the season so far. And this all happened before we had to play Chelsea at home at Anfield, a game that I was actually at and vlogged at, by the way. And it was also my first time I watched a Liverpool game at Anfield too, and I picked a decent one to go to. For starters, I saw my favorite Liverpool player Mo Salah score a goal, although it was a penalty, and even though Nicholas Jackson scored a goal for Chelsea to bring themselves back in the game, Curtis Jones, the scout on the team, scored the second and final goal to help us win this very intense affair 2-1. And so far this season, it seems like this game against Chelsea was our biggest threat, with Arne Slot even saying in a press conference recently that he felt like Chelsea were the only team that outplayed Liverpool so far this season. So fair dues to Chelsea, but Liverpool bagged the 3 points, and that's what matters. This game also did drop some really good meme material too, no cap. Anyways, then the Champions League for match day 3, we had to play RB Leipzig, who are actually now eliminated from the Champions League playoffs in present day, and we beat them 1-0 away from home thanks to a goal from Nunez. But back to the Prem for a much more important clash, we had to play our main title rival this season, Arsenal, in the capital. Yeah, that's right, our main title rival. Man City have absolutely shat the bed this season. They're fighting for a Champions League spot right now. Forget about a 5th Premier League title in a row. But anyways, this game against Arsenal did not start the best for us, I can't lie, with Bukayo Saka absolutely rinsing Robbo during this play and honestly all game, and then scoring in the 9th minute to put the Gunners up 1-0. But then in the 18th minute, out of nothing, Liverpool's captain Van Dijk scored from a corner and equalized the match 1-1. But we wouldn't go into halftime with everything fair and square, because in the 43rd minute, Mikel Merino gets his hand on the ball from a free kick and scores to give the Gunners the lead heading into the second half. But after not playing the greatest, Nunez did something positive and played a simple pass to Mo Salah, who buried the shot into the net to tie up the match 2-2 and end the games in a draw. One of the only few positive things Nunez has done this season, I can't lie. He's been pretty poor overall. One of our most underwhelming this season so far, if I'm being completely honest. But still, a 2-2 draw against our main rivals for the title in London, we'll take those all day. Moving on to the next Premier League match, we had to play Brighton at home. And fun fact, this was like 3 days after the Carabao Cup game against them away from home. So Brighton were going to try to do what we did to them, win at the opposition ground. And it was looking good for them initially, not gonna lie, with new signing Kadioglu scoring a great goal in the 14th minute in front of the Kop end to give the Seagulls a 1-0 lead. And they would actually keep this 1-0 lead for the entirety of the first half. And it actually seemed like we were going to lose another game at Anfield this season. But in the second half, we started turning up the heat. And that's when our 8 shots on target from 16 really started to show, especially in the 70th minute, with Gakpo once again terrorizing Brighton, scoring a goal to tie up the game 1-1. But then 2 minutes later, Liverpool would get on the counterattack, and Mo Salah would score another absolute worldie this season and bring Liverpool the first lead of the game, in which they kept, meaning the Reds won against Brighton 2-1, winning twice against them in 3 days.
Leave us alone! Leave us alone!
This game was pure hype, man. When Salah scored, I remember taking my own shirt off and celebrating with them for real. Anyways, on to the next game. We had to play Xabi Alonso's Bayer Leverkusen at Anfield in the Champions League. You know, the same side who won the Bundesliga undefeated last season. But even though Leverkusen are still a good side this campaign, I mean they are in an automatic round of 16 qualifying Champions League spot this season too, they only received 1 loss so far, and that was to us, because we absolutely body slammed these guys 4-0. I feel like this game is not being talked about enough, bro, because beating this Leverkusen side 4-0 is nothing short of remarkable and impressive. Then following that, we beat Aston Villa 2-0 in the Prem, before we had to play 20th place Southampton away from home. Now in an ideal world, this game should have been a cakewalk for us. I mean, it was literally first place versus 20th place. Come on now. But for some reason, whenever we played a relegation candidate, they'd turn into prime Barcelona, because even though we got the lead in the 30th minute thanks to a good goal from Szoboszlai, Robbo gave away a silly penalty in the 42nd minute, which Armstrong converted the rebound after Kelleher saved the initial pen. Then in the 56th minute, Fernandes would catch us lacking and score to give Southampton a 2-1 lead. Imagine the first place team in the league losing to relegation candidates, bruh. Twitter would have had a field day with us. Luckily, Salah got on the end of a great ball in the 65th minute and slickly put it in to bring it back level. And then around the 83rd minute, Liverpool won a penalty due to a handball decision, and Salah obviously converted it to deliver us the 3 points in this thrilling 3-2 win. And man, look at Salah's celebration with him taking off the shirt. God damn, bro, this guy has such chiseled abs, bro. He looks mad good for real, for real. Pause, but you know what I mean. Salah with the hair transplant and the rock hard abs is a good look, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Following this game, we had to play Real Madrid at Anfield. And if you know anything about the Real Madrid versus Liverpool history, you would know that these these guys own us. I mean, they beat us in 2 Champions League finals in recent history, and they knocked us out of the competition's knockout stages multiple times too. Plus, they keep flirting with Trent Alexander-Arnold to leave us on a free and join them instead. Like, come on, yo, just leave us alone. But finally, in this game, we would get the better of Real Madrid for once. Even though we dominated from the first minute, we would only get our first goal in the game in the 52nd minute thanks to a great and tidy finish from Alexis McAllister, who's enjoying himself a great season too, by the way. But it seemed like our lead would be no longer, with Robbo giving away another careless penalty in the game. Robbo low-key might be washed, I can't lie. But luckily, Kelleher is the greatest second keeper in the world, and he saved Kylian Mbappe's penalty to save Liverpool's lead. Then after Salah somehow missed a penalty of his own, Gakpo would score in the 77th minute to secure a 2-0 win over Real Madrid. Our first win over them in who knows how long.
I have waited a long time for this.
And let's just get the Champions League out of the way and talk about match day 6, the last game day that's happened in the UCL so far at the time we're recording this. And in this match, we beat Girona away from home 1-0 thanks to a penalty from Salah. This game was mad boring though, if I'm being honest. But now let's stick to the Premier League action, where in the next game we had to play our usual rivals Manchester City and Anfield. But like I said, these guys aren't that good this season. They lost to Sporting 4-1 in the Champions League and lost to Bournemouth, Manchester United, Aston Villa, Tottenham twice, Brighton, etc. so far in the Premier League. So in this game, I was pretty confident that Liverpool were gonna get the W here. And I was right. This game was pure domination for my club, man. Although we didn't have the majority of the possession, this was done tactically by Arne Slot, and we had the majority of the chances, with us having 18 shots with 7 on target, and 2 of those went in, with Gakpo getting on the end of a great ball from Salah and scoring in the 12th minute, and then Mo Salah scoring from the spot in the 78th minute to secure a calm little 2-0 win for us. Things were looking good for us, bro. We were on the high, which is why I felt like we were ready to go to Newcastle away next and bring the 3 points home. But this wouldn't be the case. In the game against Madrid, we suffered some serious injury setbacks to Connor Bradley and Ibrahima Konate more importantly, so we were battling some injuries during this clash, and we would really miss Konate and Alsa too in this game. This match was very back and forth from the first minute, but Newcastle would make their opportunities count first, with Alexander-Isak, who just came back from injury, launching in the ball from 30, 35, 40 yards out and scoring to give his side the 1-0 lead heading into halftime. But luckily, 5 minutes into the second half, thanks to an assist from Mo Salah and an incredible finish from Curtis Jones, we brought the game back level. But 12 minutes later, Anthony Gordon, a player who was strongly linked to joining Liverpool this past summer actually, sat down Joe Gomez during a Newcastle attack and scored to give the black and white the lead once again. But Mo Salah, my goal for real, and probably the front runner for the 2025 Ballon d'Or as of right now, I'm not gonna lie, brings the game back level in the 68th minute after a great pass from Impact sub Trent Alexander-Arnold in this game. And then in the 83rd minute, that same duo will strike again, with Salah's cheeky turn and finish bringing Liverpool an unexpected comeback lead in this game. But sadly, this euphoric moment wouldn't last that long, because in the 90th minute, Kelleher made a big mistake by not grabbing the ball, and Shar slide tackles the ball into the net to draw this very entertaining game 3-3. Kelleher has done very well during his time as Liverpool keeper this season, but if Alisson was in goal, that would have never happened, and we probably would have gotten the 3 points. And oh, by the way, Alisson came back from injury shortly after this, so it's chill now. The next game after this was supposed to be the derby game against Everton away from home, but because of weather reasons and high wind, the game had to be delayed, which was low-key a blessing in disguise for us, because Everton have been in some pretty hot form. They even took points off of Manchester City, Chelsea, and Arsenal recently. But big up Everton, man, they're helping us out so far. But anyways, in the Premier League game following this, we had to play Fulham at Anfield, and Fulham are actually a really good side this season, fighting for a European spot low-key, and they have the best left back in the league right now in my opinion, Anthony Robinson, my American boy, and he was impactful in this game. After all, he had 2 assists in this match. That's right, Fulham scored 2 goals against us. In fact, it was looking like we were going to lose to Fulham with them scoring a late goal, but luckily Diego Jota, who also returned from his injury which he got in the game against Chelsea, scored in the 86th minute to salvage a draw for us. Now reminder y'all, we are in a title race, so drawing back-to-back Premier League games is not a good thing for us. But luckily, we had to play Tottenham next, and if there's one thing that you need to know about this Tottenham side, is although they're pretty shit, they're literally 12th place at the time of recording this, under Ange Postecoglou, they play some pretty entertaining offensive football, and this would be proven true in the game against Liverpool. I mean, they scored 3 goals against us, but their defense is very weak, especially with the injuries to Van de Ven and Christian Romero, their main 2 center backs. So with that, Tottenham might have bagged 3 goals, but Liverpool doubled that and scored 6. 2 from Luis Diaz, 1 from McAllister, 1 from Szoboszlai, and 2 from Mo Salah. And with that, we won this 9-goal 3-0 match 6-3. Moving on, we have 2 remaining Premier League games left at the time we're recording this. The match against Leicester City, which we dominated and won 3-1 pretty simply, and then away to West Ham United, which we won even more comfortably 5-0. We smoked those guys for real, and Salah had 2 world-class assists right when Chelsea fans started bringing up the Eden Hazard debates again. That is too funny. But anyways, with that being said, Liverpool are currently on top of the Premier League table with 45 points at the time we're recording this, 6 points ahead of second place Arsenal, while still having a game in hand. So dare I say it, it's looking pretty good for us to win the Premier League title this season. And low-key, if we don't, this would genuinely be a huge fumble by us. Also, by the time this video comes out, we probably would have already played play Manchester United at home. And if we didn't win this game, I'm gonna be pissed. Not only that, we're on top of the Champions League table by a long shot, and we're still the only team undefeated in the competition. And we have a good chance of winning the Carabao Cup, and shit, maybe even the FA Cup too. Only time will tell. Maybe this was supposed to be the quadruple winning season after all. Nah, I'm just joking. Unless, in all seriousness though, I can comfortably say that Liverpool is the best team in Europe right now, and a huge thanks to that has to go to Arne Slot. He made the most out of the squad, and his tweaks and changes tactically from Jurgen Klopp has gone a long way for us. We look much more composed and calm when we have the lead, and overall we just look a little bit better structure-wise, a lot more fresh if you will. Plus, a lot of our players are enjoying great seasons, like Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back. Even though, bro, please stop flirting with Real Madrid, bro. Sign the contract extension for real.
A paper and a pen, sorry.
A pen.
So he can sign his contract.
Also, Virgil van Dijk and Canadian center back partnership looks unbeatable before Ibu got injured. He's coming back pretty soon though, so we're gonna definitely get this partnership back. And also, Richard Hughes, stop messing around and give Virgil van Dijk his contract extension. Moving on from that, Gravenberch had to fill the 6th position after Zubi Gooby rejected us, and he looks like a regen of Paul Pogba, no cap. He's been so good this season. McAllister is an absolute stud in the midfield. Luis Diaz and Cody Gakpo are killing it from the left-hand side this season. Jota always finds a way to score, and Mo Salah might be enjoying his best season to date. He's literally on top of the Premier League goal scoring charts and assisting charts at the same time. He's unreal. And if Liverpool wins some silverware this season, like the Premier League or the Champions League, my Mo Salah Ballon d'Or 2025 push won't be stopped. Like seriously, imagine Salah with the Ballon d'Or. I will actually be there no matter what.
We will be there. We will be there. We will be there.
And also, Richard Hughes, bro. Give Salah his extension too, bro. What are we waiting for? Anyways, what are your guys' thoughts on Liverpool this season? Do you guys think we can actually win the Premier League, the Champions League, maybe even both? Or maybe even all 4 trophies, bro? We can get the quadruple. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And remember, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Also follow my Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and join the Discord community. All the links are in my YouTube description. And last but not least, if you want to laugh at how poor Manchester City have been this season, you definitely want to check out this video right here. You won't regret it.